white with snow. 'Tis I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when ye come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead as well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear the soft dew tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. If you will bend and tell me that you love me, then I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Cody, and I'm a member of this congregation. Alexis Webb will light our chalice. Please join me in our chalice lighting words found in your order of service. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to remind us to connect in spirituality and service, to care for each other and the world, and to create loving community.
This morning, our Time for All Ages story is That's What Leprechauns Do by Eve Bunting and illustrated by Emily Arnold McCulley. The three leprechauns sat under the chestnut tree. Ari looked up at the cloud-filled sky. "It's coming," he said, "and there's work to be done." Boo and Call put on their red shoes and their caps and strapped their packs to their backs. "We're ready," Boo said, "but why is it always us that has to put the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Especially since not a single soul ever finds it," Call added. Ari looked up from one of them to the other. "Don't be asking," he said. "It's leprechaun duty, so it is. And fellows, remember, it's coming, so there'll be no time for mischief along the way." They walked in line, the one in front of the other one behind. No mischief along the way," they chanted.
But when they got to Ballybunion Farm, they saw Mrs. Ballybunion's cow, Pansy, standing in the field. Ari whipped out the little bottle of red paint he kept in his backpack for leprechaun business. He ran across to Pansy. "Stand still, my lovely," he told her, and he painted her hooves scarlet red. Pansy looked down. "Pretty," she said. "Imagine Mrs. Ballybunion's face when she comes to milk you," Ari shouted. He and Boo and Call rolled over and over in the grass, laughing. "She'll think I've been to a dance." Pansy did a couple of small hoppin' steps to demonstrate. The leprechauns clapped and whistled. "We'd be delighted to join you in a waltz or two," Ari exclaimed, "but we're in a desperate hurry." "I thought there was to be no mischief along the way," Boo reminded him. "Ugh, sure, but I couldn't help myself. Mischief's what leprechauns do," Ari said, "along with our more important duties." He glanced up at the tatters of clouds in the sky. "And we better not delay, for we've delayed enough already."
But as they were passing old Jamie Bradley's house, they saw Jamie's gray woolen long john spread out to dry on his hawthorn hedge. The leprechauns looked at each other and grinned. Quick as a cat pounce, they ran across to the hedge and stood one on top of the other and the other one on top of him. Ari reached up and tied the two long john legs together in a tight knot. They almost fell off each other, they laughed so hard. It would be great altogether to stay and watch old Jamie try putting his legs into those, Boo said, but it'll be a month of Sundays before they're dry, and we've no time to waste. They took a few minutes to somersault across Liam McCabe's garden. There was a yellow tennis ball in the middle of the road, and they rolled it along with them as they went. Miss Maud Murphy's hen Bridie clucked at them from behind her gate. Bridie, Mary said, would you be doing us a favor? Could we trundle this ball up to your nest, and could you sit on it for us? It'll be the great joke on Miss Maud Murphy when she comes out to gather your eggs.
Bridie put her head to one side. It's not going to be easy sitting on that, but the three of you were so good to me, scaring that fox away from my hen house last night. I'll do it. Call stretched up and patted her wing. Thank you, Bridie. They squeezed themselves through the gate and tumbled the ball with them. Then they heaved it up and into Bridie's nest. She gave a trial sit on it. I'll be sore underneath myself for a week, she grumbled. But the thought of Miss Maud Murphy's face when she sees I've laid a yellow ball will be worth it. Won't that beat all? Call gasped. The three of you can't help making mischief, can you? Bridie asked. That's what leprechauns do, Ari told her, along with our more important duties. He stopped. Is that a spitting of wet, I feel?
'Tis. Boo stared up at the sky where the sun was flickering through heavy clouds. A thin, cool rain had started to fall. Hurry, hurry, Ari ordered. It's come, we can't be late. They pulled their green slickers from their backpacks and settled their caps low to their ears. Anybody seeing them racing along the road would have taken them for 3 green leaves, but they were leprechauns, and they had work to do. Get them out, boyos, get them ready, Ari said. They took their little spades from their backpacks. Then they stopped for a minute to look up at the rainbow. Blue and green and yellow and pink and violet, that was arched across half the sky. There it is, Ari said with satisfaction. Come on. They dashed across Paddywhacker's bog, found the place where they kept the pot of gold buried for just such a rainbow occasion, and dug it up. Ari stood in the middle of the bog. Here, he said, the three of them placed the pot of glittering gold in just the right spot and watched the rainbow curve itself all the way down till it ended on top of the pot.
The leprechauns settled themselves to wait. They tootled some grass stalk music, threw raindrops at each other, and ate the rose hips they'd brought for snacks. They waited long, but nobody came. Once again, nobody came. You'd think somebody would find it, Call complained. Somebody will, someday, Ari said. Maybe we should put up a sign, Boo suggested. Pot of gold this way. No, Ari said, that's not how it's done. There's a bit of magic to the finding, and a bit of luck, and a bit of imagination, too. That gold's waiting for just the right person.
The rain stopped. The sun went behind a cloud. The rainbow shortened itself, then disappeared. No use waiting any longer. Call took off his cap and wrung the wet out of it. If we hurry, we could be in time to see Miss Maud Murphy discover Bridie's big yellow egg, he said. Boo laughed. Won't that be the great thing to see? All right then, Ari said, we'll put a rush on this. They buried the pot again in its usual place. Ari patted the smoothed down bog dirt. Don't worry, Pot, he whispered. We'll be back to get you on the next rainbow day. Now we're off again to see what new mischief we can find. For besides our important duties, that's what leprechauns do. And you should know something about leprechauns. According to legend, the leprechaun is a tiny elf found only in Ireland. Most leprechauns are shoemakers to the fairies who pay them gold for their work. The leprechauns or little people store their gold in pots and often bury one at the end of a rainbow. Since leprechauns love more than anything to play tricks, this may be just another one. The gold at the end of the rainbow has not yet been discovered. But if you find a leprechaun and pick him up, he must tell you where his gold is hidden. That is leprechaun law. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro. Unitarian Universalists believe that each person has a trustworthy relationship with the Spirit, with the Holy, with the source of all life, with what some call God, though we name it and know it differently from one another. And we believe that because we are interconnected, nobody is free until we all are free. So we strive to build beloved community here on earth, in our fellowship with one another and in our work for justice. Whether today is your first or 1,000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Please take this time to silence your cell phones. I should have introduced myself. I'm Nora Bird, and I'm a member of this congregation. I have been a Unitarian Universalist for almost 30 years, and I have been a member of this congregation for 17. Our ministry team here at UUCG is Cindy Dillard, our Director of Children's and Youth Ministry, Julie Hamilton, our Congregational Administrator, Colin McCrae, our Music Director, and Reverend Sadie Lansdale, who is our minister and at a conference this weekend.
A covenant contains the promises we make to one another in response to the great gift of living, holding ourselves to these holy aspirations. Will you join me in our church covenant? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro, do covenant to promote a search for personal meaning, respecting the individual truth in a community process of quest, speak and act with caring, courtesy, and love, thereby maintaining emotional, physical, and spiritual safety for all. Support UUCG and denominational efforts with our resources. Combat injustice while promoting equality. Nurture our children on their spiritual journey. Hold ourselves to this covenant, especially during times of conflict and disagreement. Now please join us in our opening hymn, number 15, The Lone Wild Bird, in your gray hymnal.
Oh
If you're joining us in the sanctuary, won't you please wave hello to everyone joining online? If you're online, go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat. If you're in person, let's greet our near neighbors, saving our greetings for those across the room for coffee hour.
What we need is here. 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 What we need is here.
Before we begin our fall meditation, we are in the midst of our stewardship campaign, and we've been asked to consider our member stewardship committee statement of values. This is in your order of service, and we will read it in unison. We are now in our pledge season. We are a mixed income community and everyone belongs. We trust each other to take care of our spiritual home. We pool our resources of time, talent, and treasure to accomplish our shared purpose. It matters to each of us and to our larger community that we are here. How beautiful it is to be together. We gather in gratitude this morning, turning our hearts to thanks and praise for the gift of living in the presence of the Spirit that animates all life, and in the knowledge that we are powerfully, profoundly connected to all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. During these few minutes of silence, you can focus on something you're grateful for, or someone you are remembering especially today, or just the sensation of your chair supporting you. Will you find a comfortable place in your seat and take a few easy breaths as we settle into our shared silence together? we bring the echoes in our hearts before our community and before the holy in this sacred space and time. If you're online, this is the time to share your joys and sorrows with one another in the chat. If you're in person and have a milestone you would like added to our prayers, you can fill out a yellow card which the ushers will collect from you. If there's a joy on your heart, you can come up and place a plant in the vase. If there's a sorrow, place a stone in the bowl. If you're not sure how you're feeling, or maybe you're feeling a little antsy, there are pipe cleaners in the back to fidget with, or you may have brought needlework you can feel free to do. You may also light a candle of prayer and presence for someone you're holding close to you. In church, we practice becoming more fully human. This is our time to take stock of how we arrive here and to take what we need, knowing that the table is set for us all. Will you join me in prayer and presence? We name aloud or in the chat those people on our hearts, living or dead, near or far, that this community might hold them in love. Held by silence and song, we offer our joys and sorrows alike, knowing that they are woven fine. I am sorry to tell you that longtime member Mike Bridges died unexpectedly on March 13th, likely of a cardiac event. Mike was a loving husband to Linda Bridges and a wonderful singer, and he will be missed. I heard the echoes of his voice when Colin sang Danny Boy this morning. His memorial service will be held this coming Saturday, May 23rd at 2 p.m. And if you'd like to know how to get in touch with Linda, his wife, there is information in the newsletter, and I can also give you a address if you ask me after the service. In addition, Harold Gunn notes that Tish's 98-year-old mom fell this week and received 14 stitches. She is in rehab and hopes to be able to return home next week. Our prayers of compassion are with you, Harold. And Alicia Rosales and Brandon Wassam report that a friend of theirs, Chris Wood, has had 8 surgeries over a span of 8 years. The most recent being spinal. He has had a hard road of recovery, but is finally on the right path. Our prayers of compassion are with you both and with his family. Happy birthday to Fern, who is 8 years old today. I know that the Maddox family is celebrating, and on such a great occasion. Cindy Dillard is so grateful for Jesse Pounds and Rebecca Johnson, our amazing youth advisors. Our prayers of gratitude are with both of you. As you may know, Muslim UUs and Muslims in our community and around the world are celebrating the holy month of Ramadan, observed by fasting from sunup to sundown and concluding with a fabulous feast. Our prayers of joy for this time of celebration are with you all, and our gratitude for your presence in our community. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and beyond all naming, source of all. We ask these things for ourselves, for those we love, and for those we do not yet love. Amen. What we need is here. 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 we invite our children and youth to the RE wing for snack and fellowship. Go in peace, go in love, go in joy.
Our responsive reading today is the Lorica, or Deer Song, attributed to St. Patrick and translated from the Latin by J.H. Bernard and R. Atkinson, 1898, adapted by Nora Bird. We arise today. We arise today. We arise today.
Splendor of fire, speed of light.
We arise today.
Swiftness of wind, depth of sea.
We arise today.
Stability of earth, firmness of rock.
We arise today, vast might, invocation of the Trinity, belief in a threeness, confession of a oneness, meeting in the Creator.
There is a tendency for each of us to think that everyone knows the same stories in exactly the same way, right? Everyone knows what leprechauns are. We've seen them on our Lucky Charms boxes for years. And everyone knows that March 17th is St. Patrick's birthday, and it is a holy day, or a holiday at least. And in Boston, where I spent many years, it actually is a public holiday. The reason that it is a holiday is that it commemorates the day that the British evacuated from Boston, which is true. But it came into being in 1901 when there was a large percentage of Irish folks living in the Boston area. So nice to have St. Patrick's Day off. And the stories, since we know them so well, we also know their meaning. Leprechauns are evil trickster gnomes who hoard gold. St. Patrick is Irish and saved the Irish people from paganism and got rid of some snakes. On St. Patrick's Day, it is a good thing to step back and examine each of these stories because they are strangely connected and they tell us something about that hidden dimension that Reverend Amanda Weatherspoon talked about on March 3rd, last week, 2 weeks ago. I had been calling my ideas around this sermon about spiritual evolution liminality. But her description of the third space, where belief and living life grow and evolve, was what I was trying to elucidate. For those of you who are like me and love words, liminality is defined in anthropology as the ambiguity that a person experiences as they participate in a ritual. By the end of the ritual, we have crossed from one status or space to another. After a wedding, we are married. After a baptism in Christianity, we are Christian. But what if we stay in that third place, rather than crossing over and being in that other space and arriving in some new and different identity? Or move into that identity and out of it again? What if the content of that space evolves? Because we know that stories evolve. The story of the leprechaun has changed. In the first place, it's good to know that the leprechaun stories are not as old as you might think. The first references to them in Irish literature occurred in the 15th century. They are indeed tricksters, but as the story for all ages indicated a bit at the end, the trickery may not be evil. Instead, it may be just harmless fun that brings a smile while we wait for that rainbow to show up in the sky. And are they hoarders? They hide the gold, but they didn't just find it, and they probably didn't steal it. As it says in the afterword to the book that we read, they actually earned that gold through hard work, making shoes for the fairies and other little people. Yes, they do protect it from the big human folk, but can you blame them? And in our story, they are kind of sorry that none of the humans bother to follow the rainbow and find the gold that they have hidden. It isn't their fault that humans aren't awake to the possibilities that the rainbow holds out to us. If you are more literal-minded like myself and wonder about the origin of this entire story, what is it about gold? Then here's something that might be connected. This is just an idea that I had. But I discovered something when I was privileged to travel to Ireland about a decade ago. The Irish had gold mines and were renowned goldsmiths. Did you know that? I was kind of shocked about it. As the great-granddaughter of Irish immigrants who traveled here in the 1890s and died in the slums of New York, gold in Ireland, the jewelry of lords and their consorts in Ireland, I was shocked to see it in the museums there. Gold, now gone and buried, possibly by those pesky leprechauns, and only findable at the end of a rainbow. And that rainbow, it is so fleeting that it never looks the same or arrives in the same place again. And the other story we're contemplating today is Patrick, the saint. First of all, according to some sources, his given name was Patricius, born in Britain to a Romanized family. And his family was probably of the ruling class, and some of us would say collaborators with the Romans. So why is he connected to Ireland? He was actually captured in an Irish raid on Britain and enslaved. He worked as a herder, embraced his family-given Christian religion, though he described himself in something called the Confession as once having been an atheist. And then he escaped, maybe miraculously back to Britain. He made decisions through following dreams, first to escape Ireland and then to go back to Ireland to bring the Christian religion. It was the 400s. Rome had broken up and there was chaos everywhere. and Christianity was on the rise. You may have been wondering about the cross that I have sitting up here. It is called a Celtic cross. The way the story goes, St. Patrick tried to meld the ancient Celtic religious beliefs with Christianity by taking the crucifix and centering the sun in the middle. The Lorica that we repeated part of today says belief in a threeness, confession of a oneness. St. Patrick also supposedly used the shamrock to show this same idea of the Trinity. Belief in a threeness, confession of a oneness. Belief, confession, those two words have haunted me since I encountered the Lorica. This was during COVID in a blog post by Father Richard Rohr, who writes beautifully about the Catholicism that I wish I could still profess and confess, but no longer do. So the sun was a major symbol for the Celts. And it wasn't just, so the idea of threeness, of multiplicity in God, wasn't new to the Celts. And it wasn't just three gods that the Irish believed in. It was many more than that, and each was very particular to a small group. One commentator wrote in the Encyclopedia Britannica that in Irish sagas, the common form of oath is, "I swear by the God by whom my tribe swears." For some reason, that quote registered deeply for me in these times. I swear by the God by whom my tribe swears. Of course, we don't really know much about the Celtic gods because the Celts had an oral tradition. Things were not written down until the Romans came along. Their stories were fixed in writing by the Romans in Latin, and the Romans made these connections to their own gods. The greatest of the gods was Lug Lamfoda, called Lug of the Long Hand. He was the patron of cobblers. Where have we heard about cobblers before? And associated with the arts. His name connects him with an ancient god of the long hand, which is similar to a name applied to Vedic Savitir, a Hindu god of the awakening sun, of the early morning sun. When Lug's story was Romanized by Julius Caesar, Caesar called him Mercury. I don't see the connection, but Julius Caesar did. Another god, Tyrannus, was identified with the sky, and his symbol was the wheel. The Romans called him Apollo. Hands, sun, wheel, the cross, all come together in this symbolic Celtic cross. So why have I been ruminating about the lorica, the cross, and leprechauns? Because of the way Celtic religion and Christianity evolved and changed each other. the life and example of Jesus, the brightness of sun, the splendor of fire, the depth of sea. The Celts had a scientific belief system that dates back to before Stonehenge, 3200 BC, as noted in the monument known as Newgrange. Those are the elements that combine to form a Celtic spirituality. Celtic-derived Christianity is different because those elements are combined, just as Christianity mixed with many indigenous stories and transformed it for the people in St. Patrick's Day and others who followed him. There was so much transformation necessary for those Christian converts, learning Latin, giving up the Celtic gods, changing rituals, and they were persecuted for their beliefs. The Celtic cross may have been a comfort to them. As Reverend Weatherspoon told us 2 weeks ago, UUism may be a third space where we are continually evolving into a truer version of ourselves. That is what some of us who come to this religion come here for, to be truer to ourselves. I know that's why I left Catholicism and became a Unitarian Universalist. But it isn't just ourselves that are evolving, so is our faith. Reverend Weatherspoon reminded me of the apt phrase that we have a living tradition. Our influences and our principles are alive, and they are a growing organism. We are going through a process of updating, reimagining, and even visioning the 7 principles that have been part of UUism for the last 60 years. The vision is encapsulated in a graphic. I was very surprised to see the graphic. If you want to see the graphic, it is on the bulletin board, right near the coffee in the corner. As we go through this process, we question, we object, we discuss, we ponder, we consider, and come to a consensus with the flawed but powerful democratic process. Whatever your reason for being here today, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, whatever stage of life you have reached, here you are allowed to question, reason, ponder, all of those things. And the person next to you is too, and the person next to them, and the person across the aisle, and up in the back, and online, and across the world. As we said in the welcoming words, we are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are singular. We have our own belief system, but we are not each a wild bird floating in the air. We are held together by a shared sense of exploration and the willingness to live in that space between one and many, goodness and evil, certainty and openness. So may you be awake for the rainbow's appearance. You know what conditions might bring it, but will you see it? And will you follow it to the end, where that hard-earned fairy gold lies hidden? Or is the gold really a community who believes in the rainbow and will search for it with you and build that space, that church, whether there is gold there or not? And a live spirituality and a live theology and alive church is open to new possibilities. UUism is contemplating a change in how we talk about our 7 principles. Some of us will know the before, some of us will know the after, and some of us will only know the new. We will strive to reconcile these in this third space, our church. And now we will have our choral anthem.
We thought it was important to share the translation of this next piece you'll be listening to. It is in Latin. Ovos omnes qui transitis per viam, O you all who pass along this way. Si est dolor similis sicut dolor meus, if there is sorrow like unto sorrow mine.
One of the ministries in this church is our Minister's Discretionary Fund, which is available to anyone in a tough spot. We can help with medical bills, rent, groceries, or other needs. Reverend Sadie's email and phone number are on the back of your order of service, or you can contact the church through our website. Our offering this month is split with the Minister's Discretionary Fund, and if you're in a place to contribute, this is your last time to do so in the offering. We help with medical bills, rent, groceries. We stave off hunger. We get people their meds. We forestall eviction. We provide a rest and respite from financial distress until the paycheck comes in. You make this giving possible. If you'd like to make a contribution for our offering to be split with the Minister's Discretionary Fund, you can do so at the link in the description of this video. You can text GIVE to the number in your order of service. You can also mail a check. Is the offering your pledge? No. Where can you make a pledge? Online. That's right, online. Ushers will come forward to collect the offering, which will now be gratefully received. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. Will you join me in our chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Lots of announcements in your order of service. Most importantly, what are we doing at noon? Digital meeting. Okay. And also, I just want to remind you that next weekend we will have 2 different memorial services. one on Saturday and one on Sunday. All right. A church in the living tradition evolves, incorporating the influences of all who join it. To change, we must be open to the new and the unexpected, be it the brightness of the sun, the stability of earth, the firmness of rock, or even the appearance of the rainbow, or the fun inherent in a practical joke. Let us find a third space religion where all are welcome. Amen. Please, let's sing together our benediction hymn, number 1058, Be Ours a Religion. We'll be back here for conversation at 11:15.